Good evening, and welcome to the August 5th, 2024 meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals, or ZBA. First, let me introduce the members of the ZBA present here this evening. Myself, Chairman Alan Donnelly. Our Vice Chairman, Mr. Carl Hanger, is with us this evening. Our Secretary, Mr. Elijah Hewling, is with us this evening. Regular member Commissioner Richard Briggs should be here very shortly. We'll count him absent for right now. Regular member Commissioner Mr. Larry Rushmeyer is with us this evening. Alternate member Commissioner Mr. Liam Ania is with us this evening. And for the first time this evening, we have alternate member Commissioner Mr. Michael Barnes is with us this evening. Our zoning enforcement officer, Mr. Fran Lawley, is with us, and our fantastic and always very professional recording secretary, Cassandra Varian, is with us this evening. The current agenda can be found here at the table or on the town website under board meetings. When we begin the public hearing, I will call each applicant one at a time. When I call the property address, please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and tell us about your appeal in detail. After, the secretary will read into the record any communications we received in favor or opposed to the application. The chair will then entertain questions of clarification from board members concerning the application. We will then hear from those who wish to speak in favor of the application, followed by those who are opposed. Following each side of the question, the applicant will be allowed to make concluding remarks. After we have gone through all the cases on the agenda tonight, we will close the public portion of this meeting and will deliberate an open executive session. You must have at least 4 affirmative votes to have your appeal granted. The final decision may be in the form of approved as submitted, approved with stipulations, or disapproved. All questions and comments must be directed through the chair. Please be assured that everyone will be given the opportunity to speak. However, the board is most interested in hearing factual information relative to the application, and in view of time constraints placed upon us, we ask your indulgence in not reiterating comments previously presented. You are welcome to stay until the end of the meeting or contact the land use office in the morning. I'll take this check now. Note for the record, Mr. Richard Briggs is here. Okay. First thing on the agenda, thank you, is a review of minutes. I'd like, let's see, we have the minutes, dates on there, right? All right, I'd like to take a motion to approve the July 1st, 2024 minutes, please.
So moved.
All right, do I have a second? Yes, second. Okay, is there any discussion? I have very little. Nope. Any discussion? Commissioner Richmond?
Good.
Would you mind if he sits in on this?
Of course.
Any discussion? No discussion? They're 100% absolutely perfect. Phenomenal job of nothing. All those in favor of approving the prior minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Any questions or comments on the minutes of boards of other commissions? Nothing? Okay. All right, so first thing on the agenda is continued public hearings, which is 160 Wiskaneer Road. I'm going to read it off here, and that is the Congregational Church of Brookfield, 160 Wiskaneer Road, and this is for a present dimension of 17.51 feet, structured to front lot line. Required dimension is 75 feet, proposed dimension is 67.4. Variance requested is 7'6", and zoning regulation is 3.3 delta.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to remind you that I'm going to recuse myself in this case,
Okay.
and I'm going to sit in the audience when they come up.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Mr. O'Neill, I know you were here at the last meeting. You did your homework on it already. Would you mind being seated for this application? Yes. Okay. And everybody else is here. All right, would the applicant or proponent of the applicant please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and tell us about your appeal in detail, sir.
David Cole, 192 Wiskaneer Road, Brookfield. I'm a contractor the church is hired to put an addition on. There'll be an addition put on the building that'll allow handicapped access with an elevator from the upper floor to the lower floor, which we don't have right now, and no handicapped bathrooms. There'll also be a retaining wall that will enclose the existing playground area that they've always used for years there. as shown on the site plan. So there's really two variances, one for that addition and one for the actual building. I believe when I put in there's two, one for the recreation.
Yes, I apologize. Let me read that. Present dimension 0, that's down at the bottom, I missed it. 75-foot front lot line, 51.6 is the proposed dimension. The variance request is 23.40, and that is regulation 3.3 delta. Sorry, I forgot that.
No, that's no problem. I actually found it going to the regulations, I don't know why I stuck, went right and read the zoning regulations, but the recreation area has to be 75 feet from that line too, so I put both of them in. When I first started to look at this, I remember as a kid always using that playground area because that's where it was, and I wanted to be a little safer because the cars fly through there, so there's gonna be a retaining wall with a guardrail on top of the wall, in front of the wall actually, it'll stop any cars or mowers or anything going over. There'll be 8x8 posts, pressure treated posts behind a fully reinforced concrete retaining wall, and then on top of the retaining wall there'll be a fence also, so kids can't fall over the fence. And then we're going to fence in the whole area all the way around, so kids can't run out when a car go by and have them get hit by a car going by. So that's pretty much the gist of the whole thing. So I don't know if you have any questions on that.
Thank you very much, sir. And Mr. Secretary, do we have any correspondence to read into the record, sir?
We do. This is from the Center for the Family at 5 Junction Road, Brookfield, Connecticut, to Brookfield Land Use Department, Brookfield Zoning Board of Appeals, regarding variance application of 160 Wisconsin Road, date June 18th, 2024. Given the traffic conditions on Route 133 West, also known as Junction Road, we must oppose the construction of an addition to the Congregational Church with a fenced-in play area. Despite repeated complaints to our town government, state government, and our town police department, the dangerous conditions on our road invite tragedy. The speed limit on Junction Road from Route 25 to the stop sign at the, quote, painted bridge is twice clearly marked at 30 miles per hour. Just beyond the, quote, painted bridge, going up Junction Road to Route 25 is marked at 25 miles per hour on the curving stretch of Junction Road. It is not just your expected but uncommon speedsters who violate the speed limit. It is regular cars, motorcycles, trucks, delivery vans, and school buses that race to or from the lights at the Route 25 intersection at, quote, normal speeds of 50, 60, or more miles per hour. Other complaints thus far have met with no consequence, as the people dedicated to our safety consistently pass the buck. We consider the pastors and the members of the Congregational Church to be outstanding friends and neighbors. In our almost 30 years at our current address, parentheses, our driveway is directly across the street from the church's red barn, end parentheses. We admire the fine work that the church has done. At least until our traffic conditions are brought under control, we must strongly oppose an additional complication to an already bad situation. Unfortunately, we will be out of town from tomorrow through July 10th, but we certainly wanted to give you our input. Respectfully, James Sullivan, Kathleen M. Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Yes, sir.
At this time, I'd like to ask if there's any questions from any commissioners of the applicant. I have a few. I'll go last.
Can I respond to that letter at some point? or-
Oh, absolutely, 100%. You'll be able to respond
Okay,
to it.
just want to make sure.
Yes, sir.
I have a question. Not the play area, but
Okay.
the bathroom, is that?
Addition area, yes.
Yes, and you said an elevator as well,
Yes,
right?
elevators.
Are either of those to just keep in line with handicap standards?
Yes, that's why we're doing it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
right now, you guys,
They have to get in their car in the rain or snow or whatever, they go all the way around and then get out of their car and go back in the lower section right now, because there's no way to get from that section down to the lower section. That's where they have all their fellowship downstairs now. And their handicap bathroom situation on the side is very limited. They have one at best in the foyer where you first come in by the office, but that's it. All the other bathrooms that are downstairs existing cannot be made handicapped because of the concrete bearing walls that are there. They're not even 3 feet apart, which doesn't mean ADA closed now. So So everything we're doing will be ADA
To
compliant.
bring everything up to
Yeah,
code.
okay. Well, I'm not gonna say everything, because there's other
Oh,
parts of the church
right.
we're not working in, but this area will be ADA compliant.
But this specific
Right,
area
this
is the
specific area,
request.
yes, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for allowing me to go out with the property. I did go.
Oh, no problem. Yeah.
Looked at it a couple times. Would you mind if I pulled it up on Google Earth, sir?
That's fine with it.
We'll just see the technology.
Okay.
I think I got a good shot. I just have a few questions, sir.
Okay.
I think this is a pretty good shot. Okay, so just beyond the fence here, basically the addition's going in. The playground is gonna be somewhere around there, pretty close? kind of?
Well, it'll be around, that area, yeah.
Roughly around there. Okay. The church, I know it's like 170 years old. It's an icon in Brookfield, in the Bush
Sure.
Historic District, built in 1854. So it's obviously pre-existing non-conforming, is that correct, sir?
Right, and there was a playground there, or actually, you can see the playground, it's right there.
Yeah, the other playground?
No, the one that's right there, your picture shows it on Google Earth, that's where the playground was.
Okay.
That always was a play area, so I'm really just trying to bring it into compliance. Because there's been a pre-existing non-conforming use as a whole church has been. So the playground area is there already, I'm trying to make it a little safer by putting, some guards around it, so.
Okay. So besides pre-existing non-conforming, the property always has, I believe, it's 3 front yards. So you have Junction, you have Route 25,
Right.
which is Wisconsin, and then
Silvermine
you also
also,
have
yeah.
Silvermine,
Yeah.
which is what we're on, standing
Sure.
on right here.
Right.
So there's 3 front yards
Right.
technically on the property already. Okay. My next question, sir, is on my site map here, and you can be free to point it out to me. I did have a little bit of a concern. You have the proposed play area, and as I understood it, this was the 3-foot wall with a fence or something on it, but you said there is some type of a guardrail.
There's a guard, I'll
going
draw a
in.
plan if you'd like to look at it.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. Or if you could, you know what, could you draw it in on mine? Or is it easier to look at it
You
right
want a
here?
copy of this, so you just attach?
You can draw it right on here if you want. It's good enough for me.
You can see the side view, that'll be the,
Thank you.
will be, every 6 feet, there'll be an 8x8 coming up with a bar going across here.
Okay, so this is a guardrail before.
Guardrail before the retaining wall.
About how many feet before?
It's right against the retaining wall.
It's right
In
against
other words,
it?
I'm gonna, right against the concrete wall, I put 8x8s down
Mhm.
and backfill it right away. So the 8x8s are actually supported by the wall, so they're very strong, they can't be moved, there's just nothing there.
Could you show me on here that that's gonna be just here against the
Right along
retaining?
there, yep.
So it'll be
All the way
like
across,
here
yep, there.
and here and
Down
this
the
little
side.
section right here?
Wherever it says retaining wall, we'll have guardrail on it.
Okay. That was a little bit of my concern because, I mean, as I look at it, I already saw the 3 stones here, so obviously there was a worry about cars coming down or running down, and there's gonna be kids in the playground there. My whole job, my whole career for 40 years has been looking for the impossibilities or improbabilities and looking for a way to resolve them. When I came down Silvermine Road, the first time that I looked at it, I backed up here, and the kids' jungle gym, literally it was right here.
They moved it.
I
because
know,
we're
I'm
in
like, what if a
construction.
car went off the side of the road there, they're gonna go right in like
Right.
where the jungle gym is, and what if they go straight?
But, I hope you understand, when I was drawing the addition, I thought about that first and actually put the retaining wall on top of that to make sure the kids would be safer, but for your point, a car could go right through where those 2 chairs are right now, or you could go over in the church when there's,
Yeah, if they're coming
75
down the
people
other
in
way.
the service and go right through the building, so you can't put a guardrail around everything. I mean, a plane could drop out of the sky, and I'm doing the best I can with what we have
Absolutely.
to make sure there's a guardrail there and nobody gets hurt, but they could be playing basketball in the parking lot or riding bikes or something, the car could go over. You can't protect everything, but I hope I am doing, I think,
Yes,
all that can be done.
Yeah, I absolutely appreciate that. I understood everything you said about the hardships on the property. Last question,
Sure.
if there were a possibility, and I don't know what the board's gonna do, but let's say we were in favor of it, would you be opposed to a stipulation of maybe just continuing the one that you have in, that little piece of guardrail, a little bit farther down?
It won't work unless it's right against the retaining wall. So I'm not gonna build a bigger, that retaining wall has to turn around the grade.
Okay,
So it's pretty far down already is what I'm getting at right here for a car coming off Silvermine, is what if any kind of car would come off, it's gonna protect that, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, this is bumped out far enough. How far is that little edge that comes back?
That
Is
cuts
like
out another
6
6 or 8 feet, and then it
6
goes
feet.
to level ground there, so you don't, there's gonna be a fence there, but if somebody comes over, that's, again, how can I protect the whole thing? I'm not gonna put the historic district, and I wouldn't want to see a 4-foot concrete wall sticking out of the ground with nothing back there,
I
because
agree.
it would look terrible. To put an 8x8 post on the ground with no dirt around it, it's not gonna do anything. So, you know, I think that,
The
for your
natural-
concern, I think this is the most efficient way I can do something.
Okay, that natural guardrail that you have up against there, that meets the state local codes for stopping a vehicle. If a vehicle came and
Well,
hit that,
no,
it should
for
stop
20
it.
years, I worked for the fire department as land review, and I actually had a guardrail put up on Route 7 right by the Goodard School. And guardrails are not really guardrails, they're guide rails. They're made to guide the car and
Away.
try to keep it away. But they're not to guard anything. They're not designed to stop the vehicle from going directly through it. If you hit a guardrail or a guide rail at 90 degrees, you're gonna go through it. They're to guide the vehicles away. So, will this guide the vehicle away? Yes. Will it stop a tractor trailer from going through? Absolutely not.
And the historic district looked at everything and they
I was at
liked
the historic
everything.
district, their last meeting, and they were fine with everything. I just made sure that they knew that it was there, and they did, but I wanted to just reiterate that it was there, so
Thank you.
they were happy with it.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Okay, no
Stone.
problem.
Any other commissioners? Any questions for the applicant?
Come on, somebody's got to have something.
Oh, he wants questions.
I would like to respond to that letter. I mean, I believe she's
Absolutely. Feel free to.
concerned about traffic on Junction Road, and she's probably upset about what happens in front of her house. But I would think she would be happy that we were trying to protect the kids a little bit and keep them from running out in the traffic that's going behind this church quite a bit. Because everybody cuts through this church when they decide to go another way, and they run through the back. And first thing I looked at is if my kid was in there and I was inside looking out, I wouldn't want my kid running in front of a car going by, so we're gonna have it fenced in so the kids will be in an enclosed area. So I would hope that they would think that this is actually a better thing than what's there now, because right now, they can run whenever they want, you know, so. I think
You're basically giving
it's-
better accessibility to get down there for the
Right.
kids and their parents and making the kids as safe as
As
possible.
safe as
Is that-
possible.
Is that
Right.
fair?
I can't stop a plane from dropping out of the sky, but we're doing everything else we can do.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Anybody else?
Well, I would think it's unlikely that adding handicapped access is going to affect the speeds of people driving on Junction Road.
Yeah.
And fencing in an existing playground is also unlikely to have any effect on the speeds.
Anybody else?
I was curious to ask, and this is not, I guess, has to do with the map that we were provided with. It kind of seems like the property on Silverline, which I understand is owned by the church, is not with the property on.
Yes, there was actually 3 separate parcels. Before I came to you guys, we combined it into 2 parcels now, so the actual church, the old lot line went right through the church, you know, because nobody ever took care of this. So I made sure we got all the deeds in line and straightened everything out, and it's been filed. About a month and a half ago, the proper map has been filed showing that there's 2 separate parcels now. So the old lines that you can see there were part of what was there, but it all meets, you know, current zoning regulations now, except for the addition I'm putting on, that's why I need the ZBA for it.
The 2 parcels are at 4.2856 acres, sir? Or,
The one parcel at 160 is the 4.2. The other one is not on the application because it wasn't part of 160 anymore. That's
Thank
the Junction Road parcel.
thank you. Any questions? Yes, sir. Any further questions, sir?
No.
Okay. All right. At this time, I'd like to ask if there's anyone here that would like to speak in favor of this application. Yes, ma'am. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and
Jacqueline Salem, 148 Liskmere Road.
welcome to the zoning board of appeals.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman.
Go right ahead. Full disclosure, I'm also the chair of the Historic District Commission for over 30 years now. So, Dave has come to the commission a few times and thoroughly, reviewed it. We considered also the traffic situation, although it's not necessarily in our purview, but it is because of the aesthetics of the guardrails and the fences and all the other stuff. And the commission has approved it, and so we're all in agreement that we think that it's a good project. And what I wanted to say is, which everyone knows, that everything in the historic district is like pre-existing non-conforming. So this is something that every application, you know, we have a, you know, that happens, so it's just the way it is, so. the-
170 years old.
Yeah, 170, that's right.
That's what I looked at.
So, yeah, so the commission unanimously actually voted for the project, so.
Thank you very much. ma'am.
Yeah.
Very much. This time, I'd like to ask if there's anyone else that would like to speak in favor of this application. Hearing none. This time, I'd like to ask if there's anyone that would like to speak in opposition to this application. Hearing none. We'll take a motion to close. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Mr. Cole?
Yes,
You have final concluding remarks, sir. Anything you'd like to say?
thank you for your time.
That's quick. Thank you very much. All right. At this time, I'd like to take a motion to close the public hearing on Z-24-34.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Note for the record, Commissioner Rushmeyer. No, thanks. Okay, moving on to number 2, application number 2. All right. Application number 2, which is Z-24-20. That's a 40? Yeah. 40, thank you. Got a good thing. Let me go see. No reading from here. 107 Stony Hill Road, Z-24-40, Renee Cornell, and that's for a request for a variance, present dimension of 5 feet 7 inches, structure to the front lot line, required dimension is 40 feet, existing is 5'7". Variance requested would be 34.5 feet, and that is Article 3.5. To the applicant or proponent of the applicant, please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and tell us about your appeal in detail, sir.
Good evening, Mr. President, gentlemen on the board, and ladies on the board, and everybody here present. My name is Renee Coronel. I live on 107 Stony Hill Road, Brooklyn, Connecticut.
Welcome to the zoning board of appeals, sir.
Thank you. And I would like to come up with my quick technology thing here. I would like to
Yes, sir, you can use the chair
if
if you
it's
like.
gonna work, but I'll try.
Do you want to try using the chair?
I could. I will use the point stuff if I need to, that's all. Okay, thank you. All right, so this is a building in question, which is a garage. I don't know if everybody can see it. It's pretty small and not the best printing thing, and I broke it by doing so. Anyhow, so the roof is collapsing, and I was brought into my attention by the Blight Commission that I needed to fix our roof. However, the building itself is not in the best, looking or a structural way. I would like to fix it, yes, and if possible, I would like to install a second story, which would be a bonus room, so I can make it more useful. The house is pretty small, as you can see. The whole thing was built back in 1848. It's all non-conforming. It's right next to the road. The garage door is facing the road, so I cannot use it at all. This is the property. Besides that, where I cannot move it or do a garage elsewhere in the property is because there is an easement that goes through the property, and even if I want to move the garage further to conform with new standards, I would be right on top of that line. I have to make an application with wetlands because of this. So if I have to here, I gotta protect it with silt fence, hay bales, you name them. So that way it's no silt will go into the water stream. So this stream comes all the way from Pocono Ridge Road, and it's on a concrete cast pipe which comes through and then goes down as a stream passing Stony Hill Road.
What is that easement, sir? Sorry.
It's a stream. I guess they instead of having an open stream, somebody somewhere sometime, I don't know when, they decided to put it on a concrete pipe which comes through, and the property has an easement. Therefore, this cannot be moved. If I were to move it, if something happens there, I have to tear the unit down in order to fix it. So that's one thing. And what I would like to do is to add a bonus room right on top. And what I'm asking the Board of Appeals is a 4-foot overhang to make it bigger, so I can do an office over here. I was gonna put a garage here, but I'm now debating it whether I do a gym or something in there, because I'm not gonna put a car on that garage anyway. So the bottom, going back to the first picture, So as you can see, the driveway is on a slope. Therefore, if I don't do a garage over here, I can just put joists and I can do a storage underneath. However, I'm gonna be leaving one wall up and I'm gonna be redoing the foundation with poured concrete. So the hole is already there. I just gotta remove what's there and put, the footings and make it to today's standards. So that would be what I'm asking. And so back to the unit, this would be the side that's facing the road, and this is the side that would be facing the actual terrain where the driveway would be. And this is the first floor, and it will show over here the overhang. And this would be the second story, with a bathroom, a full bathroom, which I applied for on the health department, and I'm suggesting if I can put another bathroom. However, I was told that I need to change the septic, which is fine with me. So they were gonna apply, or they already did, send an application to the state so I can add an extra bathroom. Because I wouldn't wanna go here and then have to run away to my house if something happens, in an emergency kind of thing.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Mr. Secretary, do you have any questions? No, sir. This time I'd like to ask if there's any questions from the commissioners for the applicant.
Can we see this a little bit closer?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. And do you have some of the measurements on where that easement is located? Because I don't think it's, can you maybe draw it?
Easement, excuse me. So the easement, see this edge-based water thing?
Yes.
Okay, so it comes like right here, it goes all the way here, but it's in a weird angle, so I cannot really point it. It's not a straight line, so it comes like this and it goes like this. So that the Pocono Ridge Road comes through here, and the stream thing comes through there. So, and one more thing, if you don't mind, I forgot to say, I went to get myself a lawyer, and I was given this, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, I have a copy for each one of you. He was not able to come today. However, I was given a letter, if you don't mind reading it for all of us.
Thank you.
I forgot, I'm kind of slow.
No problem.
There you go. Yes. There you go, sir. There you go. I'm busy. Oh, sorry. No, thank you. Sorry about that.
No problem. Can you give us 60 seconds so we can read this?
Please, go ahead. It was my bad. I should have done that first, but I didn't know which order should I go.
You just have to read it into the record? Sure. The Secretary's going to read it into the record.
No problem. Thank you.
Attention, Ellen Donnelly, Chairman, Brookfield Zoning Board of Appeals. This is dated August 2nd, 2024, regarding Renee Cornell, 107 Stony Hill Road, Brookfield, Connecticut, Z-24-40. Dear Chairman Donnelly, Renee Cornell has sought our assistance in presenting the above referenced application. Unfortunately, I have a conflict in my schedule and will not be able to attend the August 5th hearing. I have reviewed the material that he has submitted with the application. His statement in support may not clearly define the nature of the hardship. The board needs to take note of the pre-existing nonconformity of the entire site, which contains buildings dating back to the 19th century and middle of the 20th century prior to the adoption of zoning regulations in Brookfield. The garage is in disrepair and needs to be reconstructed on a foundation that is only 5.7 feet from the property line. The roof needs to be completely replaced. The variance will allow the building to be functional with a second story approximately 24 by 20. The proposed overhang of approximately 4 feet does not increase the nonconformity of 5.7 feet, since the front property line has a jog of 5.29 feet. Though the garage will have a second story consistent with the first floor setback of 5.7 feet, the overhang will be more conforming to the setback of 10.9 feet. The grant of the variance results in a partially more conforming structure that exists on the site today. The site has a drainage easement in favor the town of Brookfield to allow drainage from a catch basin on Pocono Ridge Road to run to the catch basin on Stony Hill Road that is shown in the zoning location survey. This precludes moving the existing garage to the east towards the retaining wall. It is impossible to achieve a 40-foot setback for the building with the existing drainage pipe. Based on this information, the board should be able to make a finding of hardship to support the grant of the application. Thank you. Truly yours, Neil R. Marcus.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you, sir. Would you like to continue?
I'm pretty much done. I mean, I don't know what else I would be able to say. However, if you guys have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer if I can.
Absolutely. And we don't have any correspondence on this, besides this. Okay, at this time, I'd like to ask if there's any questions from any commissioners. Yes,
Yeah,
Commissioner Barnes.
if you're looking for extra space, is there a reason you can't go off the existing house? Or if you're looking to build a garage, do it to the east side of the house or the south side of the house and go around in back of the house for a garage? Or is
Well,
there a
it's a
septic
slow-
system back there, or is there a grade
well,
issue?
The septic system is not gravity because it's on a slope. It's actually, we have a pump which pumps.
Could you look to the
Yeah.
first one and give us an
Yes,
idea
yes.
where it is on the map so we can?
Yes.
My concern is there may be someplace else on the property that you could add this space.
That's the septic asphalt.
Yeah.
It's a septic as built?
Yes. So over here, this is my driveway, and there's a wall here, but I would be non-conforming regarding
Right.
because of the dimensions from the back, the 40 feet, whatever is required.
Right.
So for my existing building, it will be what, 30 feet? I'm not sure with the dimensions that I require from the building to the property line, from the property line to the back. I don't have to make, if I put it here somewhere,
Yes.
I'm pretty sure, because I have, like, if this is a house, so all over here is a slope. And this is like the only area which I have, but over
Right.
here it's like big hill.
So the question is why won't you put it in that area? What's stopping you from putting
Because
it in
it's an
that area?
existing building, it's right there, and I'm just pretty much asking for a
Right.
bonus room. I'm not asking to relocate something.
Right.
Because it would
But-
cost me more to do that if that was the case.
I understand that, but you're not allowed to expand non-conforming buildings. 1.6.1D, you can't expand non-conforming buildings. So the question I have is, since you can't expand non-conforming buildings, why would you not consider an
Because
alternate
the
spot on
terrain-
the property?
Yeah, the terrain has a unique shape, and I kind of like it the way it is. It's been there for so many years. It's historic. So my point would be, I'm just trying to fix something that's already there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I
Yes,
have
Commissioner.
a comment and a similar question, because my reading of the regulations that you just referenced says that for a non-conforming building, such a building cannot be expanded either in a vertical or horizontal direction. So the regulation is clear. I don't think we can ignore the regulation. Beyond that, I have to say, just my own observation, your house is, your property is an eyesore. There's trucks and it looks like a construction property, not a residential house. And it doesn't give me any confidence that what you might do going forward would bring that property into greater consistency with a residential property. So my concern is the regulation and my observation about the property.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Vice Chairman. Okay. Mr. Secretary. Sir. Commissioner Rishman.
Can you talk to me about the existing structure, the garage?
Mhm.
It's a cinder block construction.
It's a cinder block structure, and they have some sort of I would say, glass to get light through. But since the roof is such a bad shape, I'm just trying to bring it to use. And like Mr. Brick said, yes, property is an eyesore, but I'm trying to fix it by fixing that building. At least it will look better.
So how many of those cinder block walls are collapsing currently?
It's there's cracks everywhere. Besides that, the floor itself is cracked as well.
And so you in this new structure would have to go down and replace footings, am I correct?
You're correct.
So
the cost doesn't really matter. You're gonna spend it on this non-conforming site or move it. So
That,
that's fine.
yeah, well, the cost, it will be cheaper to fix this than to dig a new one and get rid of that one. Because I would have to backfill the area, you know what's involved. Over here, the hole is already done. So it will be just a matter of taking stuff out and replacing it.
How big is the retaining wall behind the house?
Behind the house, this one,
Yeah.
it's a 3-foot wall.
And what about the concrete retaining wall on the back of the property?
That's 12 feet or so.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Commissioner, any questions for that? I have a couple of quick questions. Mr. Is it okay if I bring it up on Google Earth?
Please.
Okay. All right. Could you tell me, I have a pretty decent site map here.
Mhm.
The brand new thing that you mentioned with the brook and the culvert going underneath, could you take this red pen or blue pen and just draw it in for me on here so I could see exactly where it's at?
The what, I'm sorry.
Easement.
Yeah, the easement.
Oh, the easement.
The easement for the culvert, you said with the water running through it?
Yes, so you see, where am I? Okay. So this, you see this water basin right here?
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
catch base? So the stream comes like through here like this.
Draw it in
By the garage.
as best as you can.
So it goes kind of like this. You can see it with the neighbors, and it goes all the way to Pocono Ridge Road.
Okay. How far underground is that, sir?
I don't know, 4 feet, maybe, if so. Sorry,
No, thank you very much.
I wouldn't know exactly.
Okay, one question I have, which that changes it a little bit because it's going right through there. So what you're saying is with that easement,
Mhm.
if I look, I'm gonna hold my mouse here, but
Mhm.
basically it goes kind of right through here. That
Cor-
little,
yeah, you
when I
wanna-
went out and looked at it, you had cars parked behind that, that little parking area right there.
Yeah, so everything's cleaned up over there. There's nothing like you're seeing that there.
It goes more or less right up in there.
Right.
Okay, so I'd have to fly up in the air, but behind the house is where Commissioner Barnes was talking about is maybe a possible option. So
It's
in
a
front
hill.
of this rock wall,
Yeah, it's a hill.
that's a hill. That's back in this area somewhere.
Yeah, back on that area. However, I have plans for a future pool in that area, so I wouldn't want to conflict that with the other stuff.
All
I
right.
do have a retaining wall in there, which is right here. See, there's a retaining wall right here, and that's all a big hill.
Okay. Final question, sir. As per the regulations,
Mhm.
could you explain how this is not an intensification if we were to approve this? We would be making non-conforming worse. That's an intensification, basically adding on to a non-conforming. Could you explain how it's not that?
Well, if I were to fix a building, it will add value to the rest of the properties. It won't be an eyesore on the property. And if I fix that, I want to be fixing the septic meanwhile, and probably I'll put some pavement. That way the erosion doesn't go to the street.
But you're gonna have a second floor on it, so that would be making it bigger, right?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Do any other questions? Anybody else have any other questions? Commissioners? Okay. At this time, I'd like to ask if there's anyone here that would like to speak in favor of this application. Hearing none. At this time, I'd like to ask if there's anyone here that would like to speak in opposition to this application. Hearing none. Mr. Cornell, you have the final concluding remarks, sir.
Well, so if you guys will allow me, I would like to fix this and try to bring an accommodation for that vicinity to make it look better. So the property, as we look in that picture, yes, there was trucks, yes, there was debris over there, but it's all been cleaned up. So all is cleaned up. Mr. Brown has seen it. He's been in the lot. He's seen it. We cleaned it up. There's a fence.
Yeah, you got a nice fence back, a green
There's-
fence back there now.
So there's a fence and there's a retaining wall there which we put on, so we don't want nobody falling off.
Thank you, sir.
And we have to also add a retaining wall in the back, which the town of Brooklyn had us put on. And we put a fence in, so again, nobody falls off.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
All right. At this time, I'd like to take a motion to close the public hearing on Z-24-40.
Mr. Commissioner, I'm sorry.
Yes.
One more question. You own the property?
I co-own the property.
You co-own the property.
Correct.
So the landowner of record, are they aware of?
Yeah, he's
all the
totally aware with it.
changes?
Yes, Nazareth Hill. since I live in the property, he said, please handle it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. At this time, I'd like to take a motion to close the public hearing on Z-24-40. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Moving on, I'm going to go to our third application. Okay, our third application is 150 North Lake Shore Drive, and that is landowner of record, Miss Ann Farley. Applicant agent is Ted Catino and Associates. And that would be a present dimension of 81.6, structure to a front lot line, required dimension of 20 feet. Proposed dimension, they have it says 36 foot garage, but I do have a question on that. It's the front yard setback, and that's regulation 3.4.alpha.3.bravo. And the next variance on there, it says present dimension of 19.6 feet. Structure to the rear lot line, required dimension is 10 feet, and that's for a 4-foot 6-inch deck. Variance requested is 5 feet 6 inches, and that is regulation 3.5. And the next one is structure to the left sideline of 10 feet. Proposed dimension is 6 feet for a deck, and that is 4 feet even for a deck. Variance requested, and then the zoning regulation is 3.5. One question before we go on, sir. The plans show a 30 by 24 garage, but it says 36 here.
It's 30 feet.
It's 30 by 24. Okay, thank you. So I'm gonna correct that where it says 36 foot garage. I'm gonna say 30 by 24. Is that fair, sir? Yes. All right. The applicant, please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and tell us about your appeal in detail, sir.
Okay, my name is Ted Catino. I'm representing the Farleys, 150 North Lake Shore Drive.
Welcome
And-
to the zoning board of appeals, sir.
Thank you. My first time. I'm going to try to demonstrate. I have boards set up if I don't really have an easel, so we try to do the best we can here, and hopefully you'll be able to see it. But it's representative of all the information that you already have here, anyhow, regardless. So, by way of just an introduction to the project and maybe a little bit of historical content here as to why we're even doing anything at all. So this property was built by my client's grandfather back in 1947. So this property has been in the family forever, as long as he's known, as long as his mom is known, and that's Ann Farley. So they've enjoyed, the neighborhood, the Candlewood Lake for well over 7 years or more. And so the intention is, they want to continue to, have the house and, and enjoy the house. Mrs. Farley is still here with us, and she's still able to enjoy the property. Her son has, obviously taken on the day-to-day, maintenance and living of the house. And so the main thrust of what we're proposing or want to propose here is in consideration for his mom, giving her an opportunity to be able to continue using the property and the house, and not having to, have to go to the upstairs where her normal, sleeping, and the living quarters were. So the idea was to take the existing attached one-car garage, which the floor plans will show that, and I'll go through that, of course, I just want to give you a little history here.
And that's 30 by 24.
No, the existing garage is only 12 feet wide by about 20 or so feet deep. It's existing, and want to mention, I'm not expanding on that, so, okay. So the idea is to convert that space into a living suite, bedroom, closets, and and bathroom, which, you know, the floor plans, demonstrate. Then, while with that in mind, obviously now we've lost the ability to have any kind of car, garage. So that brings us to the second portion of what we want to do, which is to build a two-car garage to accommodate vehicles. Now, in the process of doing this, this construction to solve this particular family consideration, we are also we're going to expand above on the second floor, expanding the space that is currently on the second floor, which are 2 bedrooms. We're going to expand over the the garage area, which will be, of course, the eventual suite with a bathroom facility for use at the second floor level, and basically creating a master suite upstairs for John and his family, and etc. Now, that in mind, one thing that obviously we see as we view the property and analyze what has gone on there and what has been done, etc. The house hasn't really, for all intent and purpose, received any kind of real update per se. The interior of the house is certainly very much original. I know that they have improved a little bit on the exterior in terms of look with new siding, new vinyl siding. So that's what the house currently has, as you probably have noted. So what built into what we're doing here is to really bring the house a little bit more into, I'm not going to say conformity, because that's all subject, but bring it up to date more. Okay, so we are doing some additional work on the first floor to modernize the finishes, etc. And we also would like to add a deck to the rear of the house at the first floor level, which right now doesn't exist any kind of deck whatsoever. But we do have an existing patio, terrace, etc., or whatever you would like to call it, at the lower level behind the house. So we're going to be literally building over that terrace, creating like a shaded or a covered terrace. Okay. So, in a nutshell, that is the intention of what we want to do, and the historical content of what we're trying to do. So, with that in mind, I'd like to just talk a little bit about give you a little flavor as far as my feelings, into the hardships of what we're experiencing in here in order to do what we'd like to do. Obviously, we're over setbacks with the deck portion of what we have designed, and we are asking for a variance for the structure, specifically the garage in the front yard, which we know is not normally,
And that's the 30 by 24.
That's correct.
Thank you.
All right. So, if I can, by means of a site plan, which you have a copy of, and I don't know if I can put this up here. I assume that you guys can all see this. If you can't, let me know.
We have a copy too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right, so this is your 30 by 24 garage that we're proposing up in the front of the property. It stays back, well back of the front setbacks. It maintains our side setbacks and well off of the other side setbacks. So there's no questions about us, expanding beyond setbacks with that construction. So that's obviously foremost in our mind. One of the other things that we have to deal with, we have existing septic system or fields on the property, and it happened to be in the front of the property here, where you see these 2 rectangular spaces.
If you don't mind, that way you don't have to be bending over.
Sorry.
Thank you. You can accept it.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Kimon.
No problem.
So these are, like I said, existing galleries okay? Their septic system is constructed and designed as such that originally those galleries were in the back, or some kind of a leaching system was in the back. However, there is still tanks and pump chambers in the rear. And so what's happening is obviously we're pumping it up to the front. That's an existing condition, and that's been there for quite some time. I'm not exactly sure, John, if you remember how long that's been there, but it's been there for quite a while.
20 years.
Yeah. So we have that to deal with as well. So part of the locating of the garage, keep that in mind. I'm maintaining the minimum required 10 feet that we need to maintain from the galleries based on codes, etc. So that's basically the way we're situating the garage, right? So with that in mind, I'd like to just concentrate on the garage for a second, because one of the things I would like to mention is the fact that and this goes towards what we perceive as also part of our hardship. So I did a little trip around the neighborhood, okay, and I hope it's okay.
And recognize those houses.
Okay. So one of the things I tried to point out here, obviously, is the fact that it is very, very common that we have garages in the front yard. And, of course, we would love to have been able to explore other possibilities, okay? But the fact is, first of all, the property, what was built on the property was built in the time well before any modern zoning.
What year was the house built, sir?
47.
Thank you.
Roughly.
Roughly.
Well before any of the modern zoning regulations that we are dealing with, and I'm not going to say we're not going to try to do, stick to the zoning regulations that if we can, we want to, but the property is as it's geometrically configured right now. It is not easy to really conform to every single regulation that we have out there. But we're doing what we can where we can. So because of that, the fact that it is a very narrow piece of property, we don't have the room to put a garage to the side. We certainly don't have the flexibility of putting it to the rear of the property, because there's as you can see,
You'll be in the lake, right?
Exactly right. Exactly right. And the house is situated well back in the property, where and then this will go to the other part of our variance. Setbacks. It's an irregular shape. It's got a dog leg zigzag in the back of the property, so it makes dealing with the setbacks a little bit more difficult than it would be normally. But the point is, it's not a very easy property to deal with.
It's a unique shape of property, is what you're saying.
Yes. So obviously I'm trying to illustrate the fact that we are not the only ones that have run into this situation. Some of these properties actually are a little bit wider than our property, so they were able to do some things like in this particular case here. This is a very, very wide house, and the garage, it is in the front yard, but they had the ability to put it to the side of the existing of the structure, and of course build it into the structure that way. But there's one particular case that I thought was really this one here, for instance, where you have the garage is literally all by itself in the front yard, and the house is behind it down the hill, several feet in elevation. So it's it's the kind of thing that I think that the precedence has been set as far as I'm concerned. So that's the way we approach that. So then, if we would like to go to the deck, Now, I'm not sure if this is perfectly clear. I think it's probably a little clearer on your drawings. You can get a little bit closer to it. But we have the outline of the deck with its piers that come down, that it sits on. And of course, this dark line is the setback line. Okay, so you can see in two instances, the deck, is over the rear setback along this back portion.
This deck is existing, sir?
No, the deck is brand new.
Okay.
It's new. That's right. But having said that, I want to point out the fact that we do have a node here on the side, which is over the side setback that's existing.
Okay.
That is
I
an
thought
existing.
one was it.
That is an existing storage at the lower level, at the basement level. Above, at the first floor level, it becomes a landing that allows you access into the existing kitchen from the side of the property, from the side of the house.
Is that the structure to the left side plan that's on here, sir? Or no? So the second, sorry to interrupt you.
That's fine. That's correct.
Is that, okay, thank you very much. So
That's this
existing.
little gray nodule right here. Okay, so that's over the setback, because the setback is literally on the main line of the house. The house itself, proper, sits on the setback. The nodule that I'm talking about is whatever depth it is. It's like 4.5 feet deep over that setback. So our design, and I'm going to have to skip to the next board. This is a plan of the basement, lower level. Okay, the lower level with the outline of the new proposed deck in dotted lines here. Okay, this is that storage space that I was referring to. This is an existing set of stairs, stone stairs. There's no change there. So the idea is to our design basically calls for maintaining the deck portion over this storage space that's there, and then continuing with the deck behind it.
And that part about having the steps be extended to where the stones, that wouldn't be worsening the hardship, is what you're saying? Worsening
The stair, these steps are existing, and so is the storage space. So if I go to the first floor plan,
You wouldn't be expanding?
no, not at all. So this left, from your perspective, left-hand line is directly over that existing storage space below. Right now, and can I borrow this?
Sure, absolutely.
Right here has highlighted. That's that existing landing area that's on there already. And this door, which goes into the kitchen, is exactly the same location where it is right now. It's existing to stay. Could be a new door, but it's existing to stay. So, as far as layout, it's exactly the same as what's going on right now. So what we're doing is we're expanding to the back and adding a usable deck structure. Okay? It just so happens that two corners, or two portions, are slightly over the setback line. Okay? We are adding a deck out the back of that proposed suite that I spoke of earlier. But that, as you saw in the drawings here, in the site plan, does not expand at all over any setbacks, either way. It's aligned with the existing garage line, which is 2 feet plus behind the existing setback line, and well over 24 feet from the I apologize. 24, 10, 18, 14 feet back from the setback at the rear. So it doesn't even come close to the setbacks. Continuing on with the floor plans. So this encapsulates the concept of what we're doing at the first floor. Second floor, we're taking advantage of that space that we're using down below and just creating a master bathroom, which is a continuation of an existing bedroom off the existing second floor.
And this is the old existing garage.
That's correct.
This is going to be living space.
Above it. Well, we're adding another floor to it, obviously. But right now, it's just as you can see probably from the pictures, it's only a one-story element.
Future use.
Exactly. All right, so that's the floor plans. And I'd like to go quickly through elevations, give you a flavor of what the intention is of what it's going to look like. So the front elevation, so this line right here, literally this geometry is exactly the existing geometry of the garage right now. That ridge is the same as what's there now, okay? So obviously it's being turned into living space, so we no longer have a garage door. But then above, we're adding this floor with an expanded dormer to the one side, which, as you'll see in subsequent pictures, it kind of takes on the flavor of the existing house. The existing house is basically an expanded cape with a full shed dormer out the back, as you'll see. So we're keeping in with the the vernacular of the style of the house, and to our best abilities. So, and I also want to mention with that, there is no expansion to the height of the overall house either, because with the new addition, the intention is to meet the existing ridge height, so there's no additional height to the house either. This is a view from the as you're looking at the house, as far as orientation. This would be the right side elevation. As you go down the steep hill, that eventually brings you to the water. So as you can see, we're raising this entire story, adding the roof, and then you have a shed dormer over the middle portion of that. This is that space that's a covered terrace directly out behind the new living suite or bedroom suite. And this is the beginnings of the view of our deck out the back of the property. I'll try to get through this a little bit quicker, because you're probably getting a little bored. Rear elevation, viewing, facing the lake. This is what you would see if you're on the lake looking back at the property. So we have that expanded second floor space over the garage area existing, but then you have the progressions of small, I would probably call it more of a balcony behind the new suite, and then the expansive deck out the back. Okay, and then this is that portion that I mentioned earlier, which is hanging above the storage, which is exactly in the same dimension and size and etc. to what's there now. And if I could actually, and I'm going to apologize, because I'll think of some things as I'm going along here.
It's okay.
Further to, emphasize the, reasons why the configuration is as it is, and some of the things that we thought potentially are, hardships. One of the things that I thought about is that I understand that, we're continuing, to have this setback issue at the side of the property, but one thing that we need to do is access, the deck, both from the interior, which we're obviously doing. We also need to get some access and egress from the exterior. It's natural to me, in my mind, to continue the path that we did, as opposed to introducing another stair or another access or egress rather from the rear of this property, which then would even further expand on the requirement for a setback, perhaps at another part of the deck. So I'm trying to minimize really what we're asking for, basically. And then, of course, the opposite, the left side elevation shows you the entire deck from that portion. This is that existing stone and wood rails on top of stone. And then, of course, the garage in the front and back. So one of the thoughts of the garage that I'm thinking of, and will express when it comes time for the construction. We have a hill starting right from the street. So one of the elements that I'm exploring, and I think it's pretty obvious even in this particular elevation here. The concept is to keep the grade at the new garage basically the same as the grade of that existing, what is now a garage, thereby cutting the new garage into the grade with the uses of some retaining. So in order to minimize, even at that point, as you're approaching the house from the street, even by means of doing that, minimizing the height of and impact of the garage from the front. So we are keeping in mind a lot of different concepts here, and one of the things that foremost in our minds is to maintain the feeling of the neighborhood and not negatively impacting the overall neighborhood feeling that's and language that's already there for us to use. And that was it for elevations. And the last thing I wanted to do is just show a couple three-dimensional views of the house, addition, garage, the master, suite addition at the lower level, master bath at the top level, the corner of the garage, the view just looking at, this is what you would see coming down the driveway as you approach the house. You have these in the package, but they just weren't colorized. Okay.
That's a lot nicer than what we have in the package.
And this, of course, is the view from the lake, or from the left-hand side as you're looking at it at the property. At the house. And then this is also from the lake, but looking at it from the other side, where we have that little access deck, I want to call it, the existing stone stairs, and then the new deck as you go around the property to the back.
Thank you, Mr. Coutinho. Do you have anything else, sir?
That's pretty much it from my point of view. Hopefully I was successful in explaining our...
You can keep it as you may need it.
Okay.
If they have questions, you may...
So you have experience now.
No, I don't have experience. Last time I was so late, and this time I kind of got earlier, so.
All right.
Thank you very much, sir.
No problem.
This time,
Any questions? Obviously, more than happy to...
Yeah, 1 second, we'll go there. Mr. Secretary, do we have any correspondence on this application? Okay. At this time, I'd like to ask if there's any questions from any commissioners for the applicant. Yes, Commissioner Fox.
Some of these lake communities, as we know, have some close on the septic system capacity. Has the town sanitarian been consulted on adding a third bedroom to the house? Whether the current septic system is sufficient to support the third bedroom?
We would do a B100 for that to make sure that we conform. And if we don't, which I'm not sure that we don't, I don't know if you can chime in.
Well, it's a
on that at
concern
all.
only
Yes, sure.
because most of the houses there are good. I know they get a bad name in the communities down there, but most of them down there are good. I just don't want to see a problem develop because of the addition of the third bedroom, so.
Understood.
The other question I had is, eyeballing this, it looks like you're increasing the impervious coverage quite a bit. Do you have a calculation for that?
I do have a calculation, but the impervious, I'm still below it. And
I think you
I
are
can-
too.
I can provide-
Eyeballing it, it looks
No,
like
no,
you're
you're
still close to
absolutely-
50% and you're allowed 65, so I
Yeah,
just want
so
to make
you're
sure. I think
absolutely-
we would need it for the package.
Sure, absolutely. I don't have that at my fingertips,
Yeah.
but
Okay,
and
thank
that is
you.
part of my calculations that I have in my notes and
Great.
whatnot. And obviously we'll be able to provide that, no problem.
That was it.
Commissioner Briggs?
I'm still not clear on the hardship exactly. I mean, the property has this specific character to it. You've given a lake property, and it's a small piece of property, and therefore there are limits to what you can do with a small piece of property like that. But that doesn't, in my mind, necessarily constitute hardship. It's a feature of the property, but I don't see it necessarily as a hardship of the property.
So could you explain those hardships a little bit more in detail for us, sir?
Okay, well, I mean, I understand what your point is, but I personally, of course, maybe this comes down to opinion as well, but to me, okay, in my experience, the fact that you have a piece of property within a zone, within an area, and as I was trying to explain, there are all different varying sizes of properties on this, and they're all being asked to conform to the same regulations from one property to the next. Now, if I have a property that's 100 feet wide, all right, and I put in my 10-foot setbacks, and I put in my 10-foot setback in the back, and my 20-foot setback in the front, obviously I have a lot more space to work with, okay, than someone who's got a 50-foot wide property, but still has to conform to the same regulations. To me, that's a hardship.
No, I wouldn't see that as a hardship, but again, I could see that as a feature of the particular piece of property. I mean, as you say, there could be great variety of sizes of properties in the same area, all of which are subject to the same zoning
And I-
regulations.
Not to interrupt you, but
Kind of good or bad fortune, as the case may be. And then it becomes a question of do you allow for a variance based on the personal circumstances of the owner. In other words, then it becomes more of a personal issue than a property issue. And not to say that I'm not in any way unsympathetic to that, but I'm gonna think about what our responsibility is in terms of granting variance.
Mr. Vice Chairman?
Did you have more to?
Do you
Sorry.
want to respond to
I
that?
don't wanna-
I think
Oh,
that
sorry.
Interrupt the back and forth. if there's no-
Mr. Briggs, talking to, as far as I'm concerned, what is, the hardship, I think, it's, as, it's a, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's an evolution, right, of what happens. We have these properties that are in your
Small communities.
small community, that you have properties that are in your family for as long as they are, right? I think that, John could have easily decided, okay, let's abandon it and give it to somebody else. All right, what would have happened then? They would have raised it, like they did next door, and now you have something else. I mean, I think he's trying to, as best as he can, honor, his family, having that piece of property as long as they have, give the opportunity to his mom, who can certainly use the ability to be able to use, one-story space, one-story living. I think that's, it's a good argument. And I think that argument gives us the opportunity to do something. And yes, we are going over the setbacks by 4 feet in the back, with a deck, okay? And because the other thing is we're not expanding the footprint of the house. Okay, so we're not asking to go over the setbacks with the house. We're asking for variance for the garage, which, you know, is in the front, I understand it, but that's the direct result of what we're trying to accomplish with the property. And the house, you know, we know what's being built next door. And this is not something that's going to, you know, match it in terms of sheer size, but it certainly is going to give the opportunity for the house to be a little bit more valuable, maybe, perhaps.
Improvement in the neighborhood.
Improvement, et cetera. And I think, you know,
Is there
I think
any-
that's a good thing to do.
Is there any possibility of, I'm not saying this would be something I would urge, but is there any possibility of strengthening certain aspects of it, like making the deck somewhat smaller or limiting the deck access to the house and not necessarily having external access to the deck, or even possibly having a one-car garage with two-car, or any of these, would they, you know, just be so inconsistent with what the goal is, that we need nothing like that before.
Would you like to respond to that, sir?
I mean, I could see potentially, you know, reconfiguring to a certain degree the deck, maybe, to eliminate that, you know, 4-foot overhang. I don't agree with, you know, not having any access, you know, egress, let's say, from the deck. Because honestly, if I'm gonna constrict the deck strictly to the rear, you know, geometry of the house, literally coming off of the corner, okay? If I can, literally coming off of the corner of the house where I wouldn't be in violation of the setback, I've landlocked that. Okay, so going to my previous comment about, well, how do I get off of this deck other than going through the inside of the house, which I don't necessarily agree is the best of all worlds. I think it's a good thing to be able to exit off of that deck from the exterior. And the only other way I can do that is literally to do a stair elsewhere on the property. Where, you know, if I'm here, if my deck, excuse me, I have to put my glasses back on. If the corner of my deck is right here, okay, I mean, you know, to put a stair somewhere else, I have to start investigating the idea of being over setbacks elsewhere. Whereas with my current configuration, I'm just over the setback at a place where it's already existing over the setbacks. And I don't intend to go any further over on that side. It's just trying to take advantage of some existing elements of the construction of the house.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any follow-ups? Mr. Vice Chairman.
Okay. I don't necessarily want to beat a dead horse with the hardships. But I had, what has been said covered most of it, but I had one more question about the garage, and that was that, explain to me how the request for a garage isn't a self-imposed hardship. That is, you currently have a garage on your property, and you're converting it into not a garage and then coming to us and saying, well, we need a garage. And that seems like you'd cause the issue yourself by converting your garage into something else. It seems like the difficulty is self-imposed. If you don't get rid of your garage, then you don't need a garage. Or if you're going to get rid of your garage, why not find a way to attach the new garage so that you don't need any variance?
To the attachment idea, I did investigate that as part of my, design development and preliminary designs, and it basically we found that is not conducive to what we were trying to do. There's no real place to connect, an exterior detached garage to the house. So the idea would be this: if I was oriented such that the front of the house was a public type of a space, a foyer, a living room, a mudroom of some sort. I can see that happening, right? Because you bring your garage close enough, you attach it with a covered space, and then that leads into your living room or mudroom or what have you. Right? That makes a lot of sense. The front portion of the house right now, at that side of the property, okay, is an office space of some sort, some kind of living space, and it's not conducive. So that's the reason why I didn't attach it. Now, to your question of it's a self-imposed hardship, okay. We're pleading what we're saying is our needs, or the needs of the family, which basically removes the ability to use an existing part of the house in the way it was meant to be used. I don't think that it's far-fetched to want to be able to, on a house, in a piece of property, in a zone, in an area where, what's the alternative? A carport or just open garage? I mean, I don't see the reason why we shouldn't at least try to be able to have the amenity of a covered parking space, such as a garage.
Thank you.
Mr. Secretary. Mr. Rushman.
Can you tell me what the dimensions of the deck in the back of the house are?
Let me see if it's a little bit more apparent on the floor plan. It's not so on the, not so much on the site plan. It's a little bit hard to see. All right, so if I
I got a ruler if you need it.
all right, so I'll refer you to, and you'll probably be able to follow along if you go to the first floor plan, okay? Not first floor, the basement plan. So the deck out from the back of the house at the deepest portion, okay? Is 16 or 17 feet plus or minus going back.
Off that structure of the house?
Off the structure of the house.
16 to 17 feet off the house, so
That's correct.
17 by,
Then the entire length of the deck, from left to right, 10, 20, 30, approximately 29 to 30 feet wide.
So
But that includes this little
17 by
cutout.
30, sir.
17 by 30 roughly.
Yes.
Thank you.
Commissioner Neal.
I think most of the one question I have, I think you already kind of addressed it, is maybe moving the steps to this part, but I can see how that might be aesthetically challenging. I didn't realize initially that there was already an existing stone staircase there, but it makes sense now. But yeah, I like that, because otherwise I think that would be intensifying the non-conformity. But I think that would be suitable. But that's all.
I have a couple of quick questions, sir.
Sure.
Okay. Mind if I bring that up on Google Earth? And I'd
Sure.
like to see your A6. You know that nice one you have there, A6? Let's grab it. I saw the number on it before.
A6. Rendering.
First question is, you're in an R7 zone that's 7,000 square feet, you have 9,459 square feet, correct?
Right.
Okay, so it hasn't been upzoned or anything like that. The garage, we went over that in the beginning, the detached garage that you want to add on is 30 feet by 24, not the 36 that it says on here. Okay. All right. I think you explained the hardships in detail. I just wanted to know for the record, that I checked with the land use office, and there are no variances on file for, and this is on 146 North Lakeshore Drive, 146, 148, 152, 154, 156, 133, 135, and 137. So the closest neighbors kind of all around there. There's no other variances on file. I wanted to note that for the record, so I'll let you know that. I did, thank you very much for allowing me to go out the house, and I did go around the neighborhood there. Every single house, I don't know what road that one house was in the bottom right-hand corner, you know, the other houses that had
They're all
garages
the
on
same
it.
street.
Okay, yeah, I didn't catch that one there, where I would have seen it, but all the close houses,
Yeah.
they all have garages that are attached. So could you go over one more time, I know you explained it before, on why you can't figure out a way, I know you said there's an office or something there, to attach the garage, because then you wouldn't need a variance on that garage at all. Correct, that's right. Well, so like right there.
Do you want-
Yeah, that A6 one, see that right there? Did I see the one you had? Okay, so why can't you connect it right there?
Oh, okay, so this
Yeah,
is,
like,
this is,
that's a nice.
it's
picture.
A5. Okay,
Oh,
sorry,
A5,
that's why
okay,
I'm
sorry.
confused.
Yeah, that one, that's a nice one.
This, okay, so the entrance to our house, the public, let's say, portion of our house, okay? And maybe I can refer back and forth between this and the floor plan, okay? First floor plan.
Yeah, in that picture, how far bumped out from the lot line is it on the left lot line? In that A5 picture?
This here?
Yes.
This?
The garage, how far is that garage bumped out? Is there a way to back that up? if
Oh, you
need
mean-
to attach it? No, the garage, I'm talking about just the
Oh,
garage.
the garage, the distance from the garage to the property, I mean, to the house.
To the house and also to the rear, the left lot line, because I'm facing the house.
Yeah, well, the left, okay, that's an easy one. From the left property line is 20, that's the 24-foot dimension,
Okay.
okay? Now, I believe on the site plan, I
Could you
have,
back that up a little bit and connect it to that left side of the house there where you said there was an office or whatever? Is that a
I mean,
possibility?
look, you know, everything is possible. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not here to be, you know, hard-headed about it, but, you know, this shows us downstairs. So just to give you this dimension, it's 21'4" off the front of the house to the garage itself. So that answers that question.
Gotcha, thank you.
Okay. So going back to,
I'm just thinking of
Yeah, I know.
the harmony of the neighborhood. I didn't catch that one house that had the detached one.
so
window.
this
All the rest look
this
attached.
is an existing bedroom space, okay? And in order for, you know, unfortunately, this particular plan doesn't show where our garage is, but our garage is here somewhere, right?
Mhm, mhm.
It's aligned with this corner. Can I have that?
Sure.
Okay, please.
Absolutely.
Excuse me. So 20 feet and change that way. It's aligned with this. That's our setback line. Happens to be right on the corner of the house.
And the back of the garage is right.
The
on
back of
that.
the garage is right here. This is the garage here, the corner of it.
Gotcha.
Okay? But 25, I mean, whatever dimension was, I'm sorry, that I said to you earlier. 21'4" off the front face of the yard. Okay, so the point I'm trying to make is that as far as you know, the existing use and layout and organization of the house, is it conducive to being able to attach a garage there? So I mean, in order to attach a garage, what I want to do is I want to be able to proceed directly from a garage into a somewhat public space.
Right.
Okay, an entrance, a side entrance, you know, a mudroom of some sort.
Or if it was on that side, you might have to reconfigure that office
Well,
space or whatever is there.
or lose it entirely, okay, and to create a new entry. Now, if I do that, then I lose my front entry. It's that give and take that needs to happen there. I'm not saying it's impossible, but that's the reasoning that we came up with as far as why we're keeping it detached.
Thank you, sir.
And not attaching it.
Thank you very much.
Can I just make one comment?
I had one
Just
other question.
One second, sir. We'll open it up to the public in a minute. Last question. So the closest neighbors that I saw there, and I'm getting back I'm concentrating mainly on the garage here. 152, well, 148, 152, 158, 160, 164, which are just right there surrounding you, they all have attached garages. I just wanted to note that for the record. We went over that, the deck. The deck in the back, that meets the requirement with the Candlewood Lake Authority. We know they have a certain line there, don't they, coming up from the lake?
But the 440, which is the property.
The 440, okay. All right, so that's no problem. Thank you very much, sir.
I
Yes,
had one other
Commissioner
question.
Barnes.
Did you consider flipping the garage 180 degrees and losing the window on the new bathroom and putting that against an extension of the house, like building the garage out, attaching it there, and creating a courtyard effect in front of your front door?
Okay, so I see what you're saying, but I'm gonna try to explain that a little bit. So what you're saying, I'm sorry, keep it on.
No, it's okay.
Maybe you should keep it.
I'm sure you thought of this, so.
You're talking about expanding and putting the garage here.
Exactly,
Okay.
putting the garage there
Okay,
and
so-
creating a little courtyard there for your entry.
So, a couple of things that philosophically, this is kind of the way I run.
Would it help if I brought it up on the Google Earth?
You can. Philosophically, this is kind of the way I run too. We all have constraints of different things. Besides the regulations, okay, we have zoning regulations, we're gonna maintain as much as we can.
There you go.
So, philosophically, I like, if I can, I try to keep and maintain as much of what's there. Okay? Your idea is a very good one. And I guess if I had an unlimited budget, all right, I would definitely go for it. But in order for that to work, first of all, I need to start contemplating potentially cutting into a space which directly behind this, bushes right there. That's beginnings of our fields. Okay, septic fields. So I have a couple things I have to consider. So in order for me to put a garage from the face of the house coming forward, first of all, I lose a certain portion of the driveway, okay, which is naturally there now. Then I have to reconfigure that driveway so that it goes to the left side here and becomes a courtyard in front. I don't know if I have, at that point, to be honest with you, but, I didn't really pursue it enough to start really studying it. I don't know if I have turning, radiuses
Right.
and physical requirements that I'm going to need in order to make a car work entering
For a
the
two-car
garage from the
garage,
side. And a
yes.
two-car, yeah. So that's that. Then I start coming way too close to the fields.
Right,
Because in order to get that geometry to work,
right.
I really have to start using a lot more of
Well,
that.
what about a one-car garage going straight in? So you're just bringing it out 20 feet from where
I
you
mean,
are
it's
now?
certainly an option. I mean, it's not going to, ultimately, it isn't going to be what we want to have
I understand.
come out of the
No, I'm just
property.
asking if you had considered these things,
I have.
Okay.
Of course, you consider it, but we have a
yes. Yeah,
program.
because that wouldn't
we have
affect
a
any
pro-
of the setbacks or
we have a
anything else.
program-
It wouldn't be non-conforming at all.
All right. Certainly thought about it. It wasn't part of, or it didn't meet our program, as we
Okay.
call it in the industry, so it wasn't
Right, so
pursued.
pulling straight in, now you're not worried about all that turning and everything else.
Just continue, I want to mention one thing to you. We're the zoning board of appeals and we're quasi-judicial, so we pretty much have to follow the letter of the law. It has to be a unique hardship on the property. It can't be financial based, can't be self-imposed. Just wanted to make you aware of that, sir. Okay, thank you very much. Are there any further questions? Any further questions?
I'm curious about one thing.
Commissioner O'Neill.
With the garage, so I know there are two separate doors that you have on there, and you've obviously already done the math on this, and the turning radius is probably kind of sharp, but what if you just had a one single wide door like that, and then it might give a little bit more space if you're trying to turn into that second one in this angle?
I'm not opposed to that idea. I like separate doors, I think, because in my mind, it's more in keeping with the feel and style of the neighborhood. When we start having one huge garage door, it starts to look, in my mind, this is opinion, of course, starts to be more, condominium type of feel to it. And I wanted to stay away from that if I could. But ultimately, this plan needs to be put in front of, a surveyor, and there's certain things probably need to be fine-tuned. And if that becomes an issue, of course, we have that possibility. If we have to go to a large single door, I guess we could. I think that it works as it is now, but obviously subject to fine-tuning as the project progresses.
I have one final question.
Yes, Commissioner.
And I don't know that this makes particular difference in terms of the question of the approval, but if you were to keep the room, the space that's now being turned into a bedroom, an old garage, if you were to keep that one story, you would give up the master bathroom above, which is quite huge from what I can see. And it looks like you could have enough space for a bathroom, even without that extension out into that, over the garage, so that would reduce at least the issue of adding height, at least in that area, to a non-conforming property. It's just a question, just a consideration.
Yes, sir.
I have to answer that by saying that the design, as it is now, as it's drawn, as it's designed, we've been talking all along about, increasing, like, certain or expanding on certain things that you don't want to expand on. Okay, I made a lot of effort to make sure that the height of this house, ultimately, even with that second floor addition, does not and will not expand beyond the height of the existing house. So I'm not, increasing, height to the house whatsoever. Proportionally, we're not being helped by just leaving it the way it is, height-wise for that garage wing. It doesn't help us. Okay, and I have to say that what I designed doesn't make the situation worse by any means.
Thank you.
We have a limitation for height, and I'm staying well within that limitation.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Any commissioners have any further? Okay, at this time, I'd like to ask if there's anyone here that would like to speak in favor of this application.
I mean, it's my application, but.
Oh, sir, you have a right. Come on up. You're definitely
in favor.
You're definitely in favor. Please state your name and address for the record.
John Farley, so this is my mom's house.
Welcome to the zoning board.
Yeah, well, thank you. Ted, I think Ted kind of really addressed everything we needed to address. It's as I said, she was 6 years old when the place was built, and it's not practical for her to use the house the way it's currently set up. So that's really the purpose behind converting the garage. Other than that, we are trying to get another garage in place. I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, this regulation about the garage in the front is relatively new. If we did this several years ago, this wouldn't have been
It's
an
been
issue.
there at least since the rewrite, if not longer, as far as I know. I think it's been around for a while.
Before 2020.
2020?
Before 2020.
Yeah, before
Oh,
2020.
I thought I heard
It's almost been a
2020.
2018-19 rewrite, or 17-18 rewrite.
Okay, all right. We did look at connecting it. the house, if you're looking at our house, the house next to us, while it is connected, it's connected with a breezeway. Which.
Yeah, I saw that one. It is connected. Yeah, it's like a breezeway.
It's a breezeway. You know, if a breezeway solves the issue for you guys, we could figure that out. But I don't know if that's, I heard there's different rules around that too, so I
I
don't.
think a breezeway, and I actually was not able to find the exact verbiage in the zoning regs, but
Mr. Lawler could always help you with that if somebody land is.
But a breezeway usually is constricted by a certain distance. In other words, once it goes past a certain distance, it's not considered a breezeway.
You have
anymore.
21 feet there, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So usually, it's been my experience in other municipalities where this sort of thing has come up, where breezeways are usually restricted to a maximum of 10 feet or something of that order, a very short distance comparatively. So that's something else that we kept in mind.
And while it is, I think you said it's 21 from here.
21 feet.
It's not 21 from here, and that's why the garage is pulled out so that you can access it. Because you need the way to drive into it. Otherwise, it's as close to the house as we could get it, and still be able to turn
Because
it.
you have you have backup space.
Can I take a second and ask, Mr. Lawler, do you happen to know the code off the top of your head for a breezeway distance, max distance, if you were gonna connect something? If you don't, it's okay. I don't have it in front of me now. Okay, I was just wondering. Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. No, the rest of it, it's, to Ted's point, it's, other than the windows and the siding, everything on the inside is original.
Thank you,
So,
Mr. Woods.
try not to knock it down.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay.
At this time, I'd like to ask if there's anyone else that would like to speak in favor of this application. Hearing none, at this time, I'd like to ask if there's anyone here that would like to speak in opposition to this application. Hearing none. Mr. Farley, and sir, you have the final concluding remarks.
Well,
Anything at all you'd like to say?
Well, I just want to thank the board for listening to our proposal, and hopefully you can, you see it in yourselves to, help us out with some of the things that we want to accomplish with the improvements, and help us solve one problem, and hopefully we can figure out a way of solving other problems.
Thank you, Mr. Farley. Would you like to have any concluding remarks, sir?
No, I think it's covered. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. At this time, I'd like to take a motion to close the public hearing on Z-24-45.
So moved.
Do I have a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, moving on. Application number 4. Okay, our next application is 13 Canwood Birches. This is Z-24-46. If I mess up the last name, please somebody tell me.
That's all right.
It's Alex Mascarella residence and 13 Canwood Birches, and that is for a structure to the rear lot, structure to the left sideline, required dimension of 30 feet. Proposed dimension is 7 feet, 7.58 feet. Variance request would be 22 feet. Is that, how many
Yeah.
inches is that? 22, can't be 12.
42?
Is that 42? 22 feet, 42 inches? That
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
I did it in feet, I think.
22.42?
Less than that.
All right,
yeah.
we'll go with 22.42. And that's zoning regulation 3.5 and 3.6. And the other variance requested is, this is a percentage of lot coverage. Required dimension is 10%. Proposed dimension is 12%. Variance requested would be 2%, and that is zoning regulation 3.5. So please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
My name is
Tell us
Ryan
what you're gonna
Zelnick.
detail.
My name is Ryan Zelnick, I'm the architect for 13 Canwood Birches. The owner, Alex Mascarella. It's relatively straightforward. It's non-habitable. It's a trellis canopy structure.
Welcome to the zoning board of
Oh,
appeals.
thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you. As I was saying, it was non-habitable. It's just a more aesthetics. Basically, what it does, it's aesthetic and functional. The site has a spectacular view of the lake. It's kind of a 60s modern, mostly glass on the living room.
It doesn't say it, but it's a trellis, right?
Yeah, it's a trellis. I call it a trellis canopy. It's open in the middle. It's open to the sky, so it's only takes up a small area. But it provides function. It gives overhang for the front door, and it also frames the view of the lake. I'm trying to do something architecturally to the house. We're reskinning it with an alteration, and when I filed it, it was part of the structure. I disconnected it, so it's adjacent to the structure, but it is, the lot is, it's an R40 zoning. The lot is really an R15 because its lot width is only 100, you need 150.
So it's up zone?
Yeah, so I'm kind of stuck with the variance and the width, and that's why I'm asking for the board for it. But it is more aesthetic, but it does function. Provides it weather, and like I said, it helps me tie the house together, which we're trying to do with the house, and give it new life. It's kind of dated, and it's
And that's what
relatively
pushes,
straightforward.
sorry to interrupt, that's what pushes you over the 2%?
Yeah, that's the area of that. It's 150 feet. So I think in R15 I get 20%, but since it's R40, it's only 10. So if I was, and it is an R15 size lot, it's only 100 feet wide
Yeah,
versus
it's
the
an
150.
R40,
So that's why we're stuck, and I spoke to a friend about it, and obviously asked me to go through the ZBA, and I'm here before you, just to try to get variance for this trellis.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I don't have the renderings are in here in the packet there, but it's pretty straightforward. And like I said, it is mostly open to the sky, because I was trying to take advantage of the view.
You're on a
towards the lake.
hilltop, right?
On the hilltop, looking towards the lake, and I open to the sky, so you get the sun, the sky above, and but it furthers its function and helps me with the aesthetics. We're trying to do something cool.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can I sit?
Absolutely,
Thank you.
absolutely. I'll make yourself comfortable. Mr. Secretary, is there any correspondence?
No, sir.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to ask if there's any questions for the applicant from the commissioners. Yes, Commissioner Barnes.
Boulder stain,
I'm not sure. They're talking about removing it. I designed around it.
the
You know,
shed's going though.
The shed is going, but the boulder is massive, and they've talked about removing it.
It's
But
a pretty big rock.
I designed around it, so the columns actually sit on the other side of the boulder. But there's talk the designer wants to remove it, so I said go at it. So,
You didn't ask for correspondence because I was curious about
Yeah, I
next
did.
door neighbor on 11. Oh, we
I
didn't.
did, yeah, we don't
We
have any
didn't have
correspondence,
anything
right?
from the next door neighbor. I know there's a privacy fence there. So
there is, and there's
he's
huge,
not really going to see it anyway.
nobody's going to see it, and there's a huge tree line between the two, so you can't even see the house next door.
Right.
It's really
But
just
you're
straight ahead.
planning on going up to basically the edge of the gravel driveway there, or
I'm
short
going-
of the gravel driveway?
Yeah, it's the end of, yeah.
It's in
there's
front
a
of the planter,
cobblestone.
right? You got a planter there right now?
I think there's a little shed, and there's a huge rock, and then it slopes
Yeah, it's not going to
down.
go far out as far out as the shed, just to where the driveway
No,
is.
it's before the shed,
There's
yeah,
the plan.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And then just what's nice about it, it does frame the lake when you drive up. It kind of, the lake is beautiful.
I understand the
and it-
aesthetics of it,
Yeah, it's
yes.
just, I was pushing aesthetics.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Brooks, you have any questions?
I have no questions at the moment.
Mr. Vice Chairman. Mr. Secretary.
No, sir.
Mr. Rushman. Mr. Padilla. Commissioner.
Mike asked what was on my mind.
I just had a couple of quick questions.
Sure.
if you don't mind. All right, so the property is basically at the end of a cul-de-sac on the tippity top of a hill. So you're on a hilltop. That's where the property is. Thank you very much for allowing me to go out and look at it.
No, no
Take a
problem.
peek at it. When you come up the driveway, I'm talking about the big planter that's right there. I know you got a couple of planters there. But when you come up, I don't know, I kind of park right around here. There's a planter right here. Is that where the trellis is going?
No, it's right here. It's right
Okay, so
adjacent
it's
to it's where the cobblestone is. It's basically adjacent to the front door.
So it's like this.
Let me, do you have a rendering?
Sure.
So this is the back of the house. So it's basically just the extension of the front door that's here. So it's basically on the side of the house. So this is looking up from the lake. the
Yeah.
lakeside. And you can see it's basically just an extension which comes off the side of the house.
Okay. And it's a trellis. So
It's a trellis, and it's like I
It's
said,
kind of
I
like a carport that's uncovered.
Yeah,
Sort
and
of.
the car will be in front of it, it's just really, it provides a little overhang, like 3 feet of overhang over the door, just so they don't get wet when they come in, there's like a foot.
Okay. And your hardships were, it was a pre-existing non-conforming, it's upzoned,
Yes,
and a unique shape of property, you're on the top of the hill, so you got that flat area to work with, and everything else is
and it just drops off.
slope.
Yep.
Okay, What do you think that slope is? I didn't go over
Oh,
it.
it's pretty steep, it's pretty
It
steep.
is
It actually,
50,
there's a-
60 degrees, more?
it goes and then it really drops off. There's a retaining wall at the end, which
Heavy
drops off
slopes.
and it really just drops off.
Okay.
This is the front door, so it just basically would cover the front door, which just comes out
Okay,
perpendicular to
that's
the
not,
house.
now when I first went up, it was to the left, I'm
Oh,
like, oh,
yeah.
is it over near that plant or over there?
No, it's basically where the rock is,
Okay.
so it's over the rock, the big
And
rock.
With that rock staying, huh? It's a big hole.
They're talking
I saw
about
that.
moving it, and I was gonna keep it, but the designer's like, let's get rid of it.
I think I'm good, sir, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, I appreciate your time.
Any other commissioners with questions?
Could you give me the overall, what the dimensions of that
It's,
structure is?
yeah, it's about 19 feet, 19 width and about 10 foot wide, but it's open about 8 feet by 10. So it just takes up a small
So
footprint. It has 4
19 by
columns.
10 roughly?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And on 4 columns.
Thank you, sir. Any further questions? Any further questions? Everybody's good? All right. At this time, I'd like to ask if there's anyone here that would like to speak in favor of this application. Hearing none. At this time, I'd like to ask if there's anyone here that would like to speak in opposition to this application. Hearing none. Sir, you have a final concluding remarks.
Appreciate your time, the board. Hopefully I gave you an easier one to think about, but I appreciate looking at it, and hopefully you'll grant us the variance.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Very much.
Thank you.
Thanks. At this time, I would like to take a motion to close the application Z-24-46.
So moved.
We got 2.
I'll second it.
Okay, first, second, got that one. All those in favor say aye? Aye. All right, moving on to number 5.
You have to drive back to the city, so that's going to be.
Okay. You can check with the land use office in the
Give me a
morning.
call in the morning.
Thank you so
We'll
much.
deliberate tonight and we will come to a decision.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to our 5th application, and this is 1 Poppy Drive, application Z-24-47. That's Patrick and Elizabeth Lappin residence, 1 Poppy Drive, and that is an accessory property in the front yard, corner lot, and I do believe this is for a shed, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Please state your name and address for the record and tell us about your appeal and detail.
Yeah, so my name is Beth Laughlin.
Welcome to the zoning board of appeals,
Thank
ma'am.
you for having us. So our request is for a variance for an accessory property in our front yard. We're on a corner lot, so we would like to replace an existing shed, which is all pretty much rotting away, is there when we bought the house. And we want to replace it with a new shed. The new shed is just 2 feet bigger. The current one is 12 by 10 feet. And we want to replace it with a 12 by 12 foot shed. And it's already there. I don't believe there was a variance on it from the previous owners. So we just want to put it in the same spot. And the reason we don't want to put it anywhere else is because there's a septic system in our backyard. And we're on the corner, so if you're looking at our house, it is behind our house, but it's more towards the side road, which is actually all woods. So there's woods going on our side yard, which is our second front yard.
Sorry to interrupt, did you say you thought that there was a variance already on that?
I don't think there is.
Okay, yeah, I
No.
did double check, is there any?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, there isn't. Sorry, please go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
No. So, that's basically
I didn't mean to mess you up.
That's
Sorry
okay,
about that.
that's all right.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. Mr. Secretary, do we have any correspondence? No, sir. No correspondence. All right, at this time, I'd like to ask if any of the commissioners have any questions for the applicant.
Is it from what you said, the shed is visible from the road because of the tree line?
It's visible from Poppy Drive, but not from the, we're on the corner of Ironworks.
Ironworks.
And there's all trees. It's like what, I'm not even exactly how sure, but you can't see it from Ironworks. So that's the side that it would be like the front yard
Right.
part, and it's not visible from the road.
No, no questions?
Mr. Vice Chairman? Mr. Secretary? Mr. Rushman? Commissioner O'Neill? I just have a couple of short questions. Thank you for allowing me to go out and look at your property, I appreciate it. Could I bring it up on Google Earth?
Sure.
It's, I really only have one question, I think. Let's take a fly over to your house. Yeah. Just gonna stay right down. Okay, just looking at your house. Oh, what is that? Sorry. Thank you. Wow, yours is blurred out.
The house is censored.
You have a sense of the house. This is the first time looking at it on Google Earth. That's weird. Your house has been censored. As you pull straight in, that's your shed, right?
I put pictures in the,
It looks good. Okay. But that's the shed right there. Man, I wish I could see it from an angle. All right, slightly off to the right.
it's like direct, that was the driveway.
Yeah.
And it goes like directly
Directly into the shed. Okay.
Yeah, and then the house is,
Yeah, and you got a little garden right behind there,
Yeah.
right? I saw it. As you're looking at the shed, to the right, there's a set of bushes there.
yes.
Kind of big bushes right there.
Mhm.
My one question is, and I'm gonna have you explain the hardships for me, is why not take the shed, okay, and then just rotate it, and you know where the bushes are, right next to the garage, and put it right there? Is that a possibility?
I think that would still be the front yard, because,
Well, it's technically behind the house. That was a question I had for you, Frank. So you know the house I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, looking at the map,
Yeah, so she moves it in, put it right here. Where, I'll show you.
yeah.
So right here. I know you have like, you know, nice pretty bushes here, and here's your, not a good drawing, but here's your door, so you would come into it this way. So instead of here,
Like attached to it.
why not there? Or, yeah, or right next to it. Technically, wouldn't that be behind the house?
That's, yeah, the dine house.
Yeah, that technically would be behind the house. It was just a question I
No,
had.
no, that's okay.
Is it a possibility?
So we have our septic system is like right pretty much here, and then all the tanks are going that way in the leaching field,
Could you
so.
draw on, do you know where the clean out is for the septic? That's one thing I did not get your septic as built.
I actually have it in mind.
Kind of hard to see this one.
It was really, it was like
Is
an
it
old
readable?
house.
Some of the pages
I have a
washed.
copy of it.
Before that.
Oh, this one right here? Oh, yeah, oh, wait, hold on, we'll do a little bit of that. So, here is, here's your garden, here's this. So why not, where I'm thinking, wherever the house is, it's not a big distance, but I think it's somewhere around here. So we're off, we're not on the field or anything like that. So instead of here,
Far behind the main
why
part of the
not
house.
here? Move from there to there. That was,
It's
it was just a
that-
question.
so- Yeah, no, it's a good question. If you looked at our backyard, that would be like, it's like, so it's just a big field in our backyard, it would be
Mhm.
like directly in the middle of our backyard. So I think it would look really strange.
In the middle,
because-
well,
so
no, I
this
mean
is
up
all
against the
just-
house. Where's the house? Oh,
the house
sorry.
is there.
All right, yeah, bad
yeah.
drawing.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm thinking is this where I drew it in here? I'm much better on my other map. See where I drew it here?
Mhm.
Okay, so instead of straight in, like right over here, where would
Oh, I
that be?
see. Like, so in that garden, basically?
Yeah,
So you
basically
just
in
have
that
to take
little,
that garden out.
but it would be behind the house.
Mhm.
It was just a question.
Yeah.
Ah, there we
There's
go.
a septic too.
I would say that would.
Okay, so it's just taking this and popping it right there. Yeah, I know you have the beautiful bushes and everything now. But instead of here to here, technically, I mean, if it was lined up, that is the rear of the house, right, Fran?
I'm sorry?
If it was rotated like that, that technically is the rear of the house?
Put it behind the garage.
Behind the garage?
Yeah, as long as.
Yeah, so it doesn't
as long as it
exceed the
doesn't show
sideline
that.
of the
Yeah,
garage.
yeah, it's still considered a side yard because it's a
side.
corner lot, yeah. So
Right.
she has no rear yard.
Okay. I was just wondering if it was a possibility, that's all.
Yeah, I guess,
It's like the church. Yeah, there's no rear on it.
I don't see like exactly reason to put it other than like have to like redo everything, like.
The
yeah.
bushes and stuff.
Yeah, the bushes and the whole, we usually use this entrance in the back to get in and out of the house, so we would have to like, make it have to go around it differently, I guess. And it, I don't know, it's already there like in the plot and everything.
It just makes it
So-
easier to set the new one right on top of it.
Exactly. And then the one that's there is like completely all rotten, and the one we're getting would be like brand new. Top value,
Okay.
the property, so,
All right. And you have technically 2 front yards, right? Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
And I don't think like where it is now, driving by you wouldn't really notice it.
Yeah, you have pretty grown bushes on the right-hand side, and there's some out in the front there. It's pretty concealed unless you pull up and you're looking down, even though you can't see it on the Google Earth.
Yeah.
But you gotta be looking at that direction in order to see it. Okay.
Due to cybersecurity, so that's
Wow.
why it's blurred.
That's why you're worried. Okay. Any other questions? Have any other questions? Any questions? No? Any other questions? Mr. Secretary, do you have any correspondence? No, sir. All right. At this time, I'd like to ask if there's anyone that would like to speak in favor of this application. Hearing none, at this time, I'd like to ask if there's anyone here that would like to speak in opposition to this application. Hearing none, and you have a friend speaking in remarks. Anything you'd like to say?
That's all. Thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. I'd like to take a motion. This is me. To close the public hearing on Z-24-47, please. So do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye? Aye. All right. And that is our last application, so I'll explain to everybody what we're gonna do now. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go into closed deliberations. We basically discuss the applications amongst ourselves. We're gonna come to a decision tonight. We ask that you please don't chime in, and we really appreciate your patience. So thank you very much, everybody. Let's go to our first application. I would like to take a motion to approve application Z-24-34, and that is the Congregational Church of Brookfield, which is 100 West Main Road, Mr. Rushback. You're refused on this one, correct, sir? Okay.
Second.
All right. Discussion. And you are on this, Commissioner Meehan.
I'm in favor of both. I think it's important, as far as the elevator, for me that.
Safety,
it's-
ADA.
Well, yes, yeah, it needs to be more in compliance. I think it's really important. As far as the playground, I think the intent was to make it safe. I don't have an issue with it. And as far as hardships,
Pre-existing non-conforming.
yeah, pre-existing non-conforming, and again, you know,
Three front yards. Yeah. There are 3 front yards.
Yeah, so I think there's plenty of hardships, and I think it makes the whole lot safer in general.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Lee.
I second what Secretary Gooding said. I think there are a bunch of safety issues, and this will partly mitigate it. And there's already issues with pre-existing non-conformities and that kind of stuff. And also, I'm glad that we looked at the part about them forming those two properties together, the Silver Mine one and the one on Wiskner Road, because if down the line they want to build something else on the building, then there might not be as many issues with the setbacks if, you know, both are bigger. Yeah, right. Makes perfect sense.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Brooks? How do you feel, sir?
Well, since I wasn't here last time, do I,
Yeah, but you heard everything now.
yeah, well, I go on the second what people said. It's a good idea and it improves, safety, so I would be for it.
You see the hardships on the property, because it's not conforming, right? Mr. Vice Chairman?
Yep, I agree with everything that's been said. It's very clear hardships, and the reasoning for needing variances are very clear, ADA and safety.
I concur with everybody here. My only worry was for the kids and the adults down in the playground area, but my mind was put at ease by the guardrail that he had set up there, the timber guardrail, and it went through the historic district. They like it. They're all happy with it. Clearly have hardships on the property. You got 3 front yards. You got Silver Mine, Wiskaneer, and Junction Road, and it's pre-existing non-conforming. It's 107 years old. So it's definitely pre-existing non-conforming. I am in favor of this. Everybody ready to vote?
Just say,
Okay. All those in favor to approve Z-24-34, that's the Congregational Church of Brookfield, and that is for a present dimension of 17.51. This is structured to the front lot line. Required dimension is 75 feet. Proposed dimension is 67.4 feet. Variance requested would be 7.6 feet, and that's zoning regulation 3.3 delta. And the other variance request on here is for this is 75-foot front lot line, proposed dimension of 51.60. Variance requested would be 23.40 feet, and that is zoning regulation 3.3 delta. Say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. It's unanimous. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Have a good evening. All right. On to our second application.
I'm not seeing.
All right.
Just for the opinion.
I'd like to take a motion to approve application Z-24-46. Landowner of record is Alex Mascarella residence. And that is for wrong one. Where's my number 2? This one. Got it, thanks. One out of order. Strike that. Okay. I'd like to take a motion to approve application Z-24-40, and that is Renee Cornell, landowner of record, Nasser, Aquil, if I'm saying that correctly. And that is a present dimension of 5 feet 7, structure to the front lot line. Required dimension is 40 feet. Proposed dimension is 5 foot 7. Variance requested would be 34 feet 5 inches, and that is Article 3.5. I'd like to take a motion to approve this application, please.
so moved.
Thank you. Have a second? Discussion. Would you like to go first, Commissioner Smith?
Yeah, I find it hard to grant the variance for many reasons. One of them which that we're going to expand the variance, the non-conforming.
Intensification.
Intensification. I think that there's a lot of other area within the property that the structure could be moved to. So for those reasons, I would vote against it.
Mr. Secretary.
I concur 100%.
Commissioner Washington. Mr. Vice Chair.
Yep, I'm in agreement. It seems like there's other places that it can go, and that the current state that the building is in needs it to pretty much be rebuilt from the ground up anyway, or everything on it, all the walls, the floor, everything redone. So I find it hard to justify expanding an already existing non-conforming building when you can move it into conformance and do what you want with it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the building and its like current location could be strengthened and rebuilt, that was a choice, but to be expanded upward, which while it is not consistent with the regulations, and I don't see the reason for.
It's an intensification.
Yeah, and it could be moved.
I concur with everybody. I really think that there is other options. Commissioner Barnes brought up, and maybe located around the back. When I first looked at this the last time, I was not aware of the water easement, the low brook or whatever's coming underneath there. I thought he could have just moved it back, but apparently can't do that. But there's other locations on the property where it could be moved to, and it would be intensifying a pre-existing non-conforming. So I concur with everybody. I'm not in favor. Everybody ready to vote?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All those in favor of approving Z-24-40, say aye. All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
The motion fails. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. Have a good evening. All right. Okay. Moving on to number 3, I would like to take a motion to approve Z-24-45, that is the Ann Farley residence, and that is 150 North Lakeshore Drive, Brookfield, and that is for the following. So, present dimensions is structured to the front lot line. This would be present dimension of 81.6 feet, required dimension 20 feet, and this is for it says 36-foot garage, it's actually 30 by 24. And that is 3.4.alpha.3.b, which is accessory structure in the front yard. That is one part of the variance. The second part is structure to rear lot line. Present dimension is 19.6, required dimension is 10 feet, and that is a proposed deck of 4 feet 6 inches. Variance request would be 5 feet 6 inches, and that is regulation 3.5. And then this is, I wrote in existing because he did say this was existing. The next one down, structure to left sideline, required dimension of 10 feet. Proposed dimension is 6 feet even. Variance requested would be 4 feet, and that is regulation 3.5. I'd like to take a motion to approve as submitted. So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
I think we went over this in depth, but I agree with a few of the commissioners. All of this for me is self-imposed. I don't see a hardship that we could grant the variance for. Converting the garage, so needing more garage space is creating your own issue.
For needing a new garage.
Correct. And the deck, while nice, again, you're creating the need for a variance when one doesn't really exist. So for me, it's enough.
Commissioner Rushman.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think that go back to the design table and kind of rejigger the footprints.
Maybe figure out a way to attach it.
And maybe even a smaller bite at the apple next time might be a little more favorable look, but that was a big bite.
Thank you. Commissioner Briggs.
Yeah, I have a lot of reservations about it. I guess what I'm not clear about is sort of a little bit tangential, but with the raising of taking the existing garage and turning it into a 2-story structure, even though it stays within the overall height of the property, but it still raises and extends in a non-compliant piece of property, at least part of the structure. So I don't think the fact that it conforms with the existing height of the rest of the structure necessarily gets around that. So
That
that's
garage, the existing garage meet the right side setback, I thought it did already.
I'm talking about the height.
No, I know that.
That the entire.
Yeah, I don't know if, Fran, can we ask you that question? If adding on to an existing one that's in conformity, just putting a second floor as long as they meet the height regulations, is that in compliance or not?
As long as it meets the height requirement and setback, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but essentially a non-compliant property. So the structure is compliant in non-compliant property, yes, and then.
Except for the
and then
left
it-
side.
Right.
Okay.
But I agree with the general position that I think that they could probably do a revision to comply more closely. I don't see the hardship to dictate this particular plan.
Mr. Vice Chairman.
Yep, I'm in agreement with everyone. As I said earlier, I think that the hardship is self-imposed. I think if you are modifying the structure of your house and the layout and converting the garage, then it shouldn't matter so much if your current blueprint doesn't allow for a good place to attach this garage you want, because you're already modifying the structure. So just, I mean, the topic came up of like, well, there's no mudroom to attach to the garage, but if you are converting your existing garage into a bathroom and a bedroom, why not
Figure something out.
convert a mudroom while you're at it, if you're already modifying your house structure so much? So it seems self-imposed, and it seems that with the right modifications, it can be made to work, since the owners are already willing to build an entire garage structure and modify their existing house. It seems like a plan could be made instead to comply with the zoning regulations.
I agree with everybody here. If you go to the neighborhood there, almost every house that I saw figured out some way to attach it to the front of the house. You know, I understand there's smaller parcels there and everything, but so I don't think it would be in harmony with the neighborhood in the first place, and it's definitely self-imposed. If they weren't getting rid of the existing garage, they wouldn't need the other garage. One question that I did have for my fellow commissioners is the third variance that's on here, which is technically an existing, that's the structure of the left sideline, that's the deck there. Wouldn't that, Fran, I can ask you on that, wouldn't that technically, if we did approve it, and it's been there already for we don't know how long, because you said it was existing, wouldn't that technically be bringing that into compliance? So would anybody, I know we can reduce variances here, but would anybody be opposed to basically cutting out the first two parts and discussing maybe just doing a variance on only this last one, the existing deck that's right here now, the third one down? How does everybody feel about that?
Some discussion on that, if there was some way to move that access around to the back of the house, it would be in total compliance at that point. It wouldn't be in a setback.
Maybe
And I
that's
ju-
something he can look at when he's
While he's
redesigning.
revising, he can kind of take a harder look at that.
Okay. What do you feel, sir?
Great, I agree with you.
Everybody agrees with that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
It was just an idea, I
Yeah,
thought, it was already there and.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
I don't see anything, I don't see anything, I guess, wrong with.
I mean, it's something that's already there.
Right, but I just don't see what exact purpose it serves. Since it is already existing non-conforming, it doesn't require us to.
No, I see. No, I got you. And like Larry said, if you go
Right.
back and they can redesign it, maybe figure out a way to attach it to the house and
Right.
do the ones you do. Okay. Everybody ready to vote?
Yes, sir.
Everybody's comfortable with it? All right. All those in favor of approving Z-24-45, and that is the Ann Farley residence, say aye. All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Nay. Okay, and that's unanimous, the motion fails. Thank you very much, have a good evening. All right, on to number 4. Yeah. I'd like to take a motion to approve Z-24-46, that's the Alex Muscarella residence, that's 13 Canwood Birches, and that is for a trellis structured to the left sideline. Required dimension is 30 feet, proposed dimension would be 7.58 feet, Variance requested is 22.42 feet, and zoning regulation 3.5 and 3.6. And because of the trellis, that also brings the next one in, which is percentage of lot coverage. Required dimension is 10%, proposed dimension is 12%. The variance requested would be 2%, and that is regulation 3.5 and 3.6. I could take a motion to approve this and move.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion. I'll go first, whoever wants to. I don't have a problem with it. There's definitely hardships on the property. They're right on a hilltop. They have a limited amount of space on the top there to work. It's at the end of a cul-de-sac. They're red. It's a pre-existing non-conforming, am I correct, Fran?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a pre-existing non-conforming. Definitely unique shape of property because it's on the hilltop. I don't have a problem with it. I'm in favor of the application.
I'm,
Mr.
I
Sen.
don't know, I still find the hardship difficult in that I don't know that it needs a trellis. But I would say, I could also be persuaded to approve, but I would add a stipulation that this is only for the canopy trellis, so we don't approve a variance and then something's built in or it becomes a garage because we allowed it to go out.
I agree.
Variance a certain
Good
distance.
idea. I really think of that.
So if we approve, I would stipulate that we're approving this canopy trellis, if that's something we can do.
We could make a tight stipulation like that, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Trellis only. Commissioner Rushmeyer.
I totally agree with that.
Yep.
I totally agree with everything that you said.
Would you
I
like-
get that, it's totally aesthetic. There's really, and probably value neighborhood, great, but it goes with the property and the next person that comes in puts a building above it
Yeah.
and we got it.
I'm glad you thought of that. I'm glad you thought of that. Commissioner Briggs.
Yeah, I agree with approving it with that stipulation.
Would you okay with that stipulation?
Yeah.
Would you like to make that stipulation, sir? Mr. Secretary.
I'll use it.
Stipulation is only a trellis. Do I have a second on the stipulation? Second. Okay. Any further discussion?
Just that I agree with everyone else. So
I agree with everyone else, and
It's
I'm
pretty-
glad you thought of that, because I did not think of that.
It's clear hardships with
Yeah,
the property.
I do see the hardships, yeah, unique shape of
Very-
property,
yes.
existing
It's
non-conforming.
been very heavily upsold. I mean, even the lot size, like as far as the lot size is concerned, what they're going over, it's an R40, which is the minimum lot area of 40,000 square feet, and they're at 16.
Yeah,
1,000 square feet,
16.5.
like, which is barely enough to be an R15.
Yeah, he's on the top of the hill.
Yeah.
His piece of land, they can do anything on, it's right down on top of the hill.
Yeah.
Everybody comfortable voting? Comfortable voting? All right. All those in favor of approving the application Z-24-46 with the secretary's stipulation that is a trellis only. Is that good, Fran? Yeah. That sounds good? That sounds correct. Trellis only, and that is structured to the left sideline. It is prior dimension 30, proposed dimension 758. Variance request is 22.42, and that's under 3.5 and 3.6. And then the percentage of the lot coverage, which required dimension is 10, proposed dimension is 12, and that would be a 2% variance for the trellis only. Say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. The motion passes. Congratulations. Yeah, they're gone.
Trellis only.
All right. Trellis only. Got that? Trellis only. All right. I would like to take a motion to approve application Z-24-47. That is the Patrick and Elizabeth Lappin residence. Thank you for saying. 1 Poppy Drive, and that is for a shed, a new shed, and that's accessory property in the front yard, corner lot. Article 3.4.alpha.3.b. I'd like to take a motion to approve as submitted.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. Whoever wants to start first.
This is a tough issue for what I see going on in Brookfield. People are dropping sheds in everywhere, and here we have a piece of property in front of us where they're trying to come for a permit.
Yeah, there was a non-conforming because there was no variance granted on
There was, yeah.
So it was a
There was no
pre-existing non-conforming.
But at the
shed
same
already.
token, there is an alternative to putting it within the zoning regulations. So,
Next to the garage, you think?
correct. So I mean, that's what we're charged to do is uphold the zoning regulations.
It wouldn't still be in the front yard, technically.
Not if they rotate.
Side yard.
So if you go up their driveway, they got the garage doors there, and then right just past it is the edge of the house, so it would go there. So technically, you'd be back.
As long as it doesn't extend past the end of your house.
Right, it can't go
it's
past the
considered
edge of the
in
house.
Right.
and the front yard. I mean, there is some hardship with the, I agree with what Larry said.
Two front yards.
Yeah, there is some hardship with the two front yards, and it isn't visible from the side front yard, the one that's not attached to the grass. But there is an alternative present, and this does feel a little bit like it's just, because it's easier, because there's a shed there, because it's right, it's quick and easy, but that doesn't necessarily seem like a good reason to violate the zoning regulations. There's no, we've mentioned it before here, but there's no like de minimis.
De minimis.
De minimis, that's
exception.
a de minimis
Just
exception.
because
There's
it's
no,
small.
there's no,
That's the law, de
yeah,
minimis.
you can't just say, close enough and allow it because, well, it doesn't make a big difference. There has to be an actual hardship associated with it. And
Unique
while,
hardship on the property.
and while doesn't seem like a big deal, it doesn't really have a valid hardship when there is an easy solution that falls within the zoning standards.
Couldn't you make the case that since the current shed is a non-conforming structure, that by the zoning regulations, you can improve or strengthen
You'll be bringing
the
in the
non-conforming structure, and that wouldn't violate the zoning regulations?
I don't think you can.
I don't think you can.
I don't think you can.
They could replace the shed with the same size shed. It's just the fact that they want to go a little bit larger.
A little bit larger. So if they had the exact same size shed, they wouldn't have to come in front of us at all, is that what you're saying? Even though it was already a pre-existing non-conforming, but it was already there.
Yeah, it's grandfathered after 3 years.
So it was the same size.
Yeah, that's what we just
Yeah,
argued.
so the same size as, then we wouldn't need to approve it. The fact that it's bigger, I mean, kind of goes back to the other case we were in, where we were expanding or calling it
Right.
pre-existing,
So I
not
guess
necessarily.
their
but-
choice would be whether they want to keep the same size and lose the whatever square footage.
Or make it a little bit bigger and maybe put it next to the left of the garage.
But either way, it seems like there are other solutions that
Yeah.
granted variance.
I concur with everybody here. If there were no other solutions, you know, the septic was right there and they didn't have that option to move it to the side, I would think about this differently. But it is, I don't see the hardship on it. I'm not in favor of it. Everybody ready to vote?
Yeah.
Ready to vote? Okay. All those in favor of approving Z-24-47, that's Patrick and Elizabeth Lappin residence, and that is for accessory property in front yard of shed, say aye. All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
It's unanimous. Motion fails. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Okay. All right. I won't forget it even though I went over it last time, but yeah, let's see. So there's, I don't even need it, I don't remember. So there's, in last time, the last meeting, the last two things on the agenda there. one or two prior meetings before, I had the ZBA application updated. This is for the members that weren't here last month. And we have the 100-foot on there. You know, you have to mail everybody within 100 foot.
Right.
It's on the application that has been updated and it's done. And then the second thing that's on there, I explained it last month, I'll explain it again. Would anybody, and the other members that were here last time, the vice chairman, myself, Commissioner Rushmeyer, and Commissioner O'Neill, didn't have a problem with it. But I had a brief discussion with Chairwoman Fox in wetlands. She was very kind, very courteous, and I asked her if she would, maybe not next month or the month after, but a month that we didn't have, maybe one application or two applications, a pretty easy month, if she would come in at the end of the meeting and just give us a quick 101 on wetlands. I know I need the help on it myself, and she was very gracious. She said, absolutely, I would love to do that and take the question and answers from everybody. So I just wanted to see if anybody was okay one of these months, when we're not crazy around 5 applications in front of us, if we could have a little quick wetlands 101 additional training. Is everybody okay with it?
always against word, no.
Especially wetlands, no, we don't want it. You're okay with it, sir?
Yes, I'm fine.
Some things are better
This is
off not knowing.
Okay, everybody will know ahead of time when I do it. It'll be a month when we don't, and obviously when she's available to do it, because it's on her time and she's being very gracious and doing that for us. So I'll figure it out and we'll get it done. Good. All right, Mr. Vice Chairman, your favorite motion?
I don't know, maybe I feel like staying tonight.
Sure.
Call it a long meeting.
Sure.
Been here long enough.
Ready? You don't want to make a motion?
No, I'm good.
Would you like to make a favorite motion?
Motion to leave.
I'll second it.
All those, do I have a second? All those in favor to adjourn, say aye. Aye.